I remember the day my doctor showed me my cholesterol numbers. That LDL number, the bad cholesterol, was higher than it should be. She didn't panic, and neither did I, but she did say something that stuck with me. Your fork is one of the most powerful tools you have for changing this. And you know what? She was right. Over the next few months, I made some specific changes to what I was eating, and my numbers improved significantly. Today, I want to share 5 foods that are proven to help lower cholesterol. Not gimmicks, not quick fixes, but real food that works with your body's natural processes. Before we get into it, let me be clear about something. If your doctor has prescribed cholesterol medication, keep taking it. These foods aren't meant to replace statins or other medications. They're meant to work alongside your treatment plan, or in some cases help you avoid needing medication in the first place if your cholesterol is only mildly elevated. Always, and I mean always, talk with your doctor before making changes, especially if you're on medication. Your doctor needs to know what you're doing so they can monitor your progress and adjust treatment if needed. Now let's talk about cholesterol for just a moment so you understand why these foods work. Your body actually makes most of your cholesterol in your liver. Only about 20% comes from food. But here's the thing. Certain foods can tell your liver to make less cholesterol. Other foods can help your body get rid of excess cholesterol. And some foods prevent cholesterol from being absorbed in your intestines in the first place. The 5 foods I'm about to share do one or more of these things. The first food is oats, and specifically oatmeal. Now, if you watched my blood pressure video, you already heard me talk about oats. But they deserve another mention because they're just as powerful for cholesterol, maybe even more so. Oats contain a special type of soluble fiber called beta-glucan. Think of beta-glucan like a sponge in your digestive system. It soaks up cholesterol and bile acids that contain cholesterol, and then carries them out of your body before they can be absorbed into your bloodstream. It's really that simple. The research on oats and cholesterol is extensive. Study after study shows that eating about 3 grams of beta-glucan daily, which is roughly the amount in a bowl and a half of oatmeal, can lower your LDL cholesterol by 5 to 10%. That might not sound like much, but it can be the difference between needing medication or not, or between a low dose and a high dose. Here's what matters. You need to eat oats regularly, not once in a while, not when you remember. Every day, or at least most days. Make it a habit. A bowl of oatmeal for breakfast is the easiest way. But you can also add oats to smoothies, use them in baking, or even make savory oat dishes. The mistake people make is buying instant oatmeal packets that are loaded with sugar. At that point, you're defeating the purpose. Buy plain rolled oats or steel-cut oats. Add your own toppings, berries, a sprinkle of cinnamon, some chopped nuts, maybe a sliced banana. You get flavor and additional nutrition without the added sugar that can actually raise your triglycerides, another type of blood fat you want to keep in check. The second food is nuts, particularly almonds and walnuts. Nuts have gotten a bad reputation over the years because they're high in fat and calories. But here's what people miss. The fat in nuts is mostly healthy unsaturated fat, and that fat is actually part of what makes nuts so good for your cholesterol. Almonds and walnuts have been studied extensively for heart health. Eating a handful of nuts most days of the week can lower your LDL cholesterol by about 5%. Walnuts have the added benefit of being high in omega-3 fatty acids, which provide additional heart protection. The key word here is handful. We're talking about an ounce, which is roughly 23 almonds or 14 walnut halves. It's easy to sit down with a can of nuts and eat way more than that without realizing it. Portion control matters because nuts are calorie dense. If you eat too many, you might gain weight, and excess weight raises cholesterol, so the benefit gets canceled out. Here's a practical tip. Portion out your nuts at the beginning of the week. Put single servings in small bags or containers. Then grab one when you need a snack. It takes the guesswork out of it. Or keep a small bowl on your counter and use that as your measuring cup. Fill it once, eat those nuts, and you're done for the day. Buy them raw or dry roasted, not honey roasted or heavily salted. You want the nuts themselves, not a bunch of added sugar and sodium. And if you find them bland, toast them lightly in a dry pan for a few minutes. It brings out the natural oils and makes them taste richer without adding anything. The third food is fatty fish. And yes, I mentioned this in the blood pressure video too, because fatty fish truly is one of the most powerful foods for cardiovascular health overall. Salmon, mackerel, sardines, herring, and trout are all excellent choices. Fatty fish are loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, specifically EPA and DHA. These omega-3s don't lower LDL cholesterol much, but they do something arguably more important. They significantly lower triglycerides, another type of fat in your blood that contributes to heart disease. High triglycerides often go hand in hand with cholesterol problems. Omega-3s can lower triglycerides by 20 to 30%, which is substantial. Additionally, omega-3s raise your HDL cholesterol, the good kind that actually helps remove bad cholesterol from your arteries. So you're getting a double benefit, lower triglycerides and higher HDL. The American Heart Association recommends eating fatty fish at least twice a week. That's 2 meals. A 4-ounce piece of salmon is plenty. You don't need huge restaurant-sized portions. A modest serving twice a week gives you the benefits. If you're concerned about mercury or contaminants, stick with smaller fish like sardines and mackerel. They're lower on the food chain and accumulate fewer toxins. They're also much less expensive than salmon, which makes eating fish regularly more affordable. Canned sardines or canned salmon are convenient and just as nutritious as fresh. Keep a few cans in your pantry. Now, if you absolutely cannot stand fish oil supplements are an option, but they're not quite as effective as eating the whole fish. The fish provides protein and other nutrients along with the omega-3s. If you do go the supplement route, talk to your doctor first because fish oil can thin your blood, which matters if you're on blood thinners or having surgery soon. The fourth food is beans and legumes. Lentils, chickpeas, black beans, kidney beans, pinto beans, split peas, you name it. Beans are nutritional powerhouses, and they're especially good for cholesterol. Like oats, beans are high in soluble fiber. That same sponge effect happens. The fiber binds to cholesterol and carries it out of your body. But beans also provide plant-based protein, which means they can replace some of the meat in your diet. And that matters because meat, especially red meat and processed meat, contains saturated fat that raises LDL cholesterol. Studies show that eating about a half cup of beans daily can lower LDL cholesterol by around 5%. That might not sound dramatic, but remember, these effects stack. Oats lower it by 5 to 10%, nuts lower it by 5%, beans lower it by 5%. You add these foods together, and you're looking at a significant reduction in your cholesterol levels. The challenge with beans is that some people find them hard to digest. They can cause gas and bloating. If that's you, start small. Add just a tablespoon or two to a soup or salad. Let your digestive system adjust. Gradually increase the amount over a few weeks. Rinsing canned beans thoroughly can help too, as it removes some of the starches that cause gas. Another tip, if you're cooking dried beans, add a strip of kombu seaweed to the cooking water. I know that sounds strange, but kombu contains enzymes that help break down the complex sugars in beans that cause digestive issues. You can find it in the Asian food section of most grocery stores. Just remove it before serving. You won't taste it, but your stomach will thank you. Beans are incredibly versatile. Add them to soups, stews, salads, or tacos. Mash them into a dip. Make a bean burger. There are endless ways to include them in your diet without feeling like you're eating the same thing every day. The fifth food, and this is the one you probably have at home right now, but might not be eating enough of, is apples. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Turns out there's real truth to that old saying, especially when it comes to cholesterol. Apples contain a type of soluble fiber called pectin. Pectin works similarly to the beta-glucan in oats. It binds to cholesterol in your digestive tract and helps eliminate it before it enters your bloodstream. One medium apple contains about 4 to 5 grams of fiber, much of it pectin, especially if you eat the peel. Research shows that eating 2 apples a day can modestly lower LDL cholesterol. Now, 2 apples might seem like a lot, but think about it this way. 1 with breakfast or as a mid-morning snack, and 1 in the afternoon or after dinner. It's doable. The key is eating the whole apple, not drinking apple juice. When you juice an apple, you remove almost all the fiber. You're left with mostly sugar and water. The fiber is where the cholesterol-lowering benefit comes from. So eat the apple, peel and all. Just wash it well. If plain apples bore you, slice them up and add them to oatmeal. Dice them into a salad. Pair them with a small handful of nuts for a satisfying snack that gives you a double cholesterol-lowering punch. Bake them with a little cinnamon for a warm, comforting dessert that feels indulgent but is actually good for you. One thing about apples, they're one of the most heavily sprayed fruits, so if you can, buy organic. If organic isn't in your budget, just wash them thoroughly under running water, maybe even use a produce brush. The benefits of eating apples far outweigh any concerns about pesticide residue, so don't skip apples just because you can't afford organic. Eating them is still better than not eating them. Before I wrap up, I want to give you a bigger picture perspective. These 5 foods work best when they're part of an overall heart-healthy diet. That means also cutting back on saturated fat from red meat, butter, and full-fat dairy. It means limiting trans fats, which are found in many processed and fried foods. It means watching your added sugar intake, because excess sugar gets converted to triglycerides. But I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. Start with adding these 5 foods. Don't try to overhaul everything at once. Maybe this week you commit to oatmeal for breakfast 4 mornings. Next week you add a handful of almonds as an afternoon snack. The week after that, you make a big pot of bean soup. Small changes, done consistently, lead to big results over time. Your cholesterol didn't get high overnight. It won't come down overnight either. But it will come down if you're patient and consistent. Give these dietary changes at least 2 to 3 months before you recheck your numbers. That's how long it takes to see meaningful change. And here's something encouraging. Unlike medication, which you might need to take for the rest of your life, the benefits you get from these foods last only as long as you keep eating them. But that's also the beauty of it. You're in control. You get to decide every day to take care of yourself. These foods aren't restrictions, they're tools. Use them. Your heart will thank you.